No matter the role, the work of an Ingalls shipbuilder is both complex and inspiring. For over 86 years, the world-class shipbuilders at Ingalls Shipbuilding have designed, built, and maintained amphibious ships and destroyers for the U.S. Navy. Welcome to Inside Ingalls, a podcast that dives deep into the stories and perspectives of those who shape our legacy. Welcome back to another episode of Inside Ingalls. We're so excited to bring you another episode today, but I really just want to say thank you to the shipbuilders and our audience for listening for the past 3 years. It's been such an incredible journey to bring you shipbuilder stories and really get to tell the mission of Ingalls and how important it is to our nation. So really, thank you for an incredible 3 years, and we're excited for the episodes to come. But before we get started with our guest today, I do want to say 'tis the season for Anchor Apparel. With the holidays coming up, Anchor Apparel provides shipbuilders a way for you to get quality items at cost. Ingalls doesn't make a profit from any of this. For example, this incredible tumbler with our logo on it. And look at this straw stopper of an LPD. Sold separately, obviously, but great stocking stuffers and available at Anchor Apparel. For hours and location information, visit the Ingalls Connect app. Please help me welcome our very, very special guest today, Fatina Brave, Director of Talent Acquisition, Workforce Development, all those things. Fatina, welcome.
Thank you, Katie, for having me.
Of course. So, Fatina, as you know, we've launched an internal campaign around President Brian Blanchett's message of do what's right for the warfighter. Mm-hmm. So when you hear that phrase or when you see it on the banners that we have, what does that mean to you personally?
Personally, that means to me to show up every day and to do what's right for the warfighter in an excellent way. Being an Air Force veteran, I have the experience on the side of being the warfighter and understanding what it means to do things in an excellent fashion. So when I show up every day, I show up with the end in mind and knowing that every conversation that I have, every person that I touch, every person that I speak to do it in an excellent fashion, because I know that every decision that I make will impact our warfighter somehow, some way.
I'm so glad you mentioned that too, because I find a lot of times, speaking with other shipbuilders or even people on our team, it's the little tasks sometimes that make up the big ones.
Absolutely.
And I like how you phrased it, like working with the end in mind,
right?
Like with the warfighter in mind.
Right.
I think that's an excellent perspective. And then also, like, thank you for your service.
It's my pleasure.
The fact that we get to have you now and, the nation got to have you before, but now that you're serving again, like, really thank you for your service. And speaking of that, like, what does your military experience, how does it shape the way you view Ingalls' role in national defense?
Mm-hmm. So in the military, we swore to protect and defend our nation. So when I hired here at Ingalls, I swore to protect and defend our nation. I do it in a different way. I don't put on the uniform every day, but I put on a uniform to protect and serve our men and our women that would eventually serve on the ships that we build here. So that's how I tie the two together. What I did before and what I do now will eventually protect our warfighters that will serve on these ships that we build. So it's important. It's important to me.
Obviously that too, and I think your perspective in all of this, and the audience hearing this, hopefully hearing the conversation, will be able to say, even if they're not a veteran, at least be able to like see themselves in you, or like you're saying, like showing up and being a part of this and like bringing excellence to that, whatever it is that you signed up to do.
Right, and you don't necessarily need to be a veteran to understand the importance of our work that we do here. Absolutely. But
how they fit in that too.
Absolutely.
I think you saying that though, it highlights what we keep trying to communicate to in our communications. For many of our shipbuilders, the connection between, the work that we do in the yard and what happens at sea can oftentimes, feel abstract. Mm-hmm. And you talked about that connection a little bit, but how would you describe that link?
Yeah, so when you think of abstract, you think of something that's big, that's kind of like out of place, and it doesn't make sense until you step back and look at the entire picture. So I will always tell individuals to know that the end is to build our ships, and it will be a completed ship. So every well that's welded, every part that's put together, every drawing, every conversation, every decision will eventually end up with a completed ship. And that ship will have men and women on there that are in harm's way, and they are protecting and defending our country. So we have to keep that in mind when we do the things that we do, when we show up every single day, knowing that we're not building cruise ships here. We're building ships that will go out to protect and defend our country. So beginning with the end in mind and knowing that it's going to be a completed ship at the end.
Exactly. And you're talking about like the massiveness of the work that we do. And it just always makes me think of, the first day driving over the bridge on Jerry St. Pay and just seeing these ships being built in Pascagoula.
It's a beautiful sight.
It's a beautiful sight. But even for those that, are partners and those things, like if they're not able to see those things every single day, still understanding that, you don't have to be a veteran to understand this, but you're being a part of something bigger than yourself, like you're saying. Your role in talent acquisition and workforce development and leading that, you see firsthand the kinds of people who choose to build ships for, the Navy and for the Marine Corps.
Right.
So what qualities do you look for in someone who will thrive here?
Right. We're looking for individuals that have that grit. The individuals that raise their hands and say, I want to be a part of that work, and understanding that they have to show up every single day. And there has to be a communication between the individual and the hiring manager. So developing those relationships. I always say that we are building ships, and it may seem like old work, but we are in a new world. And when individuals show up every single day, we have to meet them where they are. And sometimes they show up and they have the skills that they need, but they may need something from us, a little bit of understanding or a little bit of patience or even training, but they show up every single day. So we're looking for those individuals with grit and those individuals that raise their hands and say, that's the work that I want to do. Those are the individuals that we want here in our shipyards. Clock it.
Completely agree. And the work that you and your team do and talking to these individuals and walking through this whole process with them, I think it just goes, we always say like shipbuilding is a team sport, but y'all are the front line. Like you represent us and what that looks like in the conversations that we have. So I want to take a moment to thank you and the team for the incredible work you're doing on that. And for being able to find those people and kind of, like you're saying, like mold them into, I see this in you and you have this, and like show up for yourself and do this for yourself. Your military experience and you being a veteran. And, at Ingalls, we have veterans that make up a huge population of our workforce. So how do we as Ingalls intentionally recruit and support those with military experience?
Yes. So the veteran population, it may be huge within our workforce, but it's also a close-knit population as well. So we're intentional about outreach and reaching out to those individuals, those liaisons between our veterans and our workforce. So we attend the TAP briefings, and those are for individuals that are transitioning from the military to the workforce. But we're currently participating in the Skill Bridge program.
Oh, right. I've heard a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Skill Bridge program is an excellent program, and that's for veterans. It's like an internship for veterans. They are allowed to intern with companies to see what's the best fit for them. And it's all paid through the military. They get to take what we call a leave of absence from the military, and they intern with a particular company. So that's something that we're excited to be a part of. We're partnering with our other divisions as well, and we're thinking we're going to see some good fruit from our labor with the Skill Bridge program and bringing our veterans in.
What a great opportunity, too. And I think a lot of people don't get to see that side of the work that we do or the work that y'all do to find these people and provide that experience for them, too.
Right.
I think what a great opportunity for us. We're talking about the type of people that we're looking for, the people that thrive here, the people that are here. How can each of us, no matter our role, live out, do what's right for the warfighter in our daily work? You mentioned it a little bit, but can you expand upon that?
Sure. Doing what's right every single day. I like to call it the pursuit of excellence. So no matter what your job is, do it in an excellent fashion.
Love it.
So if it's a weld, if you're in the engineering department, the communications department, the HR department, to show up every day in a pursuit of excellence, what do you have to do that day to meet your commitments for that particular week, and show up and do it? And if you need help, raise your hand and say you need help. We're all here together. And I think that's one of the things that I love about working here at Ingalls is the fact that I can pick up the phone if I have a question. I can pick up the phone and I can ask the question. I get it answered. It may not be right then, but I can get an answer. I think we do a great job leaning into each other, and we're all in the same pursuit, and that's a pursuit of excellence so that we can make and meet our commitments to our customer.
I love that. I'll be stealing that phrase. But it's the relationship building, too.
Absolutely.
Or at least like being transparent of like, I don't know that answer, but I know somebody who does.
Absolutely.
And it goes back to like we're talking about the relationships and understanding and being vulnerable enough to like raise your hand if you don't know.
Absolutely.
Okay, so last question. If you could describe Ingalls' mission in one word, what would it be and why?
It would be commitment. And that's showing up every single day, committed to the job that's assigned to you. If you know that you can do that, you'll end up meeting the commitments of the customer. I tell the TA team all the time, I never want hiring to be an excuse of why we cannot make and meet our commitments to our customer. And not just our customer, the Navy, but our internal customers as well. So we're in constant communications with the operations department, our engineering department, our comms department, everyone that we work with, our contracts department. We have commitments to all of our customers. So if we show up every day and we are meeting our commitments and we're having those conversations, then we know that we're going to get the job done eventually for our warfighter.
Man, excellent word, commitment. And, we're committed to our nation, we're committed to the warfighter, but we're committed to ourselves too in the work that we do and pursuing excellence, like you're saying.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, Fatina?
I will add one thing. For our workforce out there, knowing that what you do every single day, it matters. So if you get to the point to where you have any questions or you need to raise your hand because you're confused about something or you need help, I think we've done an excellent job with the resources that we have here. So reach out, ask those questions. Don't be afraid, because we know that at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about the war fighters that will eventually serve on the ships that we build here.
That's right. And what an excellent note to end on. We are committed to the shipbuilders,
right,
in the roles that we serve. But
right.
Fatina, thank you so much for your service, for being here.
Absolutely.
The director of talent acquisition, workforce development, the world. I can't wait to see what the next 12 years have in store for us. I'm just so lucky. Thank you for your time today and everything that you do for Ingalls Mission.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us, audience. It's been an incredible 3 years, and we can't wait for the next episodes. We'll see you then.